What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Showtime is Blaze King with King's Critiques, and we're here for ReZero Season 4 is beginning. I hadn't started it yet, and since the show is going to be returning in the next week or so, I figured this was a good time to start binging this, since most seasons of things this season are only halfway through. But enough with saying the word season. I'm not going to waffle on a lot, since I don't remember a ton about what happened at the end of last season. Except for they kicked the ever-living HE double hockey sticks out of the sin known as greed. Now, what will that come up to this season? Will they be able to handle the other ones that they didn't take care of last season? Suppose we'll find out. Are we going to have any more sins introduced? I believe so, because obviously within the last several months since this was actually airing, I've seen a lot of things. But we're just going to get right into it. So, of course, let me know your thoughts on the series up to this point, or hold your thoughts till the end, of course. Hit the like button, subscribe, let the whole video run the limit to watch time, and let's get started. Oh, and of course, apologies for the air conditioner, because it's pretty hot. Maybe I'll turn it off before the next episode to record, another one or two with it quieter. Yeah, that happened at the end of, the season 2, as everyone forgot about good old Julius. Which, awkward. What's her fuck kinda took his name and oops. Well, at least Subaru's catching them up to everything. Okay, it's crazy how people kept comparing, previous seasons Amelia to this season's as if she lost anything. I don't think she lost anything. Anybody think she lost anything between seasons? Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, this was one of those things I was spoiled about for the first half of the season. And I'm going to be honest, I also thought she was one of the sins originally. So is she not? Or is she and they're just unaware of that? Because, again, I've seen things that have happened through the first half of the season up to this point, for the most part anyway. So I know that name, and I know the things that are going to come from her. So, curious. Oh. So apparently Shola is a bit of a picky bitch. Because Reinhardt here tried to save his family, and he just couldn't get there. Which means it's probably one of those cases where you know your destination's general location, but it's probably a matter of magic and whimsy that actually lets you find it. Meanwhile, the lion dude, and I forgot his name, and his, I'm not going to use the L word, but his smaller girlfriend are there to, I'm guessing, talk to his parent, his mother, who disappeared from his life, and he just now found out he has a little brother and sister too. That I do remember. I'm sorry. This is one of the most awkward things of the show that will be a bit awkward to talk about at times, because, I don't know, it's a mental thing, I guess. Because I can talk about, the things that are intended to be, the youth having relationships and all that, when it's like a school setting, and I know she's 1,000 years old or something. But I mean, this is one of those cases where you actually can debate age versus appearance in anime. Because I feel it's a little weird that they're officially a couple now. Also, while she's not, dating Subaru, a lot of interesting things between them now that they're as close as they are. And again, over 1,000 years old. So, I'm not one of those people who's going to make a lot of complaints against how, the art of things works. Because, I mean, the prime example is the fact that they draw teenagers looking like full-grown, mature adult women. Then again, that's more likely to be realistic than this kind of thing. This kind of thing is not unrealistic because, again, there's been several instances of at least Asian cosplayers that people are like, why are you dressed up like that? You're young. It's like, I'm 40. Okay, I'm not gonna stay on that for too long. It's just, I forgot how awkward things like that are sometimes in this show. Meanwhile, he's like, so why don't you tell the truth since it's just us? And she's like, huh? What do you mean? I'm not bullshitting at all. You know, uh, the biggest bullshitter of all. Because of all of those royal candidates, she's the one who bullshits the most. Now, most of the time it's for good reason so far, but, oh, he's calling her out for not even being herself. So does he know that she might be what's her fuck? I think the transforming one is the sin of lust. Though that also means maybe my assumption before wasn't wrong, and the Shula is a sin, because leading them straight in the direction of her. Oh, okay. So she's not one of the sins directly. She's one of the witches that supersedes the sins and watches over what's happening, kind of, sort of. More to the point, she's the one who's close to him. So, okay, maybe she's not fully bullshitting with the Shula thing, because Echidna's the one that actually wants to keep an eye out on him and make sure he's, like... Okay, maybe not fully safe, because she has let him die approximately 60 times by this point, give or take. So at least it's the one he's close to, and it's not the sin of lust or whatever. Okay, for the Patreon side, I'm going to leave this in just to relegate to y'all. I think Echidna's kind of adorable normally, you know, Amelia level attractive, give or take. But that last shot, that sent a shiver up my spine, because I went over this before about the things I actually am kind of afraid of. You call her a vile witch, but so far most interactions you guys have had together have actually been quite peaceful. Okay, so it's not the one who's been hanging out with him on occasion. Okay, so listen, if you're not a creature with 4 redacted heads, or you're not the witch he knows, what are you? What, did this Echidna also get her memories eaten by Gluttony? Fox Edna. Really? So she just announces that she's been in that fox pelt the whole time, and now he's just gonna use that to change her name a little, just so it's not, like, the same as the one he knows. Also, he's assuming way too much of her again. She already said she wasn't some evil mastermind trying to plot their destruction or something. Okay, well, I was gonna pause to mention something else. So, that coming up is a whole other conversation on if it's respect or if, when this Echidna had her own body, she had, you know? What I was going to bring up, though, is this Echidna is apparently using Anna as a conduit and, you know, is able to fight on her behalf. Though, the question is what actually did happen to her to be withdrawn into her own subconscious. She said something about OD, and did, like, Anna overdose on something, or did she just, like, fight too hard and have to recede back into her subconscious to take a rest? I would hope she'd explain further, but knowing shows like this, she probably won't for a bit. Okay. So, like, it is sort of like the other Echidna, to where, in some weird way, she's related to what we assume is Amelia. But maybe that's not even correct. Because, like, it's been a while since I watched any of this, even though I binged watched all of it before season 3 dropped. But, you know, my remembrance of things is the Echidna he does know is related to Satella? Satella, the name of the witch? Whatever. I might be thinking of Gundam, but either way, it's close enough. And that is either a presence deep within or a relative of Amelia. And yeah. Wow. So you are bringing them over to that stage for your own devious reasons. I mean, I guess they're not devious, they have good intentions, but the fact that's, like, secondary to what they had originally talked about, that's rude. Meanwhile, Subaru being the type of guy he always is like, well, I don't like this information that you have just given me, but I understand it. Meanwhile, she asks him this kind of question, and, well, yeah, it would be nice to ask about Julius, and she wants to ask about her own issue, but he also kind of wants to ask about somebody else who's experiencing a bit of memory issues. Yo, actually, that would be a big help, though. Like going to Margrave's mansion, grabbing her, and, Shula is actually able to help, bring back Rem's memories and consciousness and powers. Because listen, she realistically is one of the strongest ones of them. Like, no joke. She might have taken 10 of his lives from him, but doesn't that show exactly how strong she is to just be able to brutally slaughter somebody who, in general, is completely innocent, but was more innocent back then than he is now? Because listen, all these revelations about the things that Subaru can do and the things inside of him is one thing, but the fact he also has, what the fuck was his sins? Yeah, honestly, it's been so long I don't remember what Beetlejuice's sin is supposed to be, but he has that inside of him. But anyway. Yeah, so, like, I can understand that. I can totally understand why that would be a good idea, both from a personal standpoint and a battle perspective. Hey, y'all talking about Otto being safe? He was actually kind of the MVP of the non-superpowered ones. Like, he did his damnedest to make sure people were safe. Hey, yo! That's crazy. Like, he ain't no Rudius, but he does get very friendly with everybody, so I guess that could be an assumption as well. But again, he ain't no Rudius. Like, that douchebag passed up on so many good-looking women in a show that's, like, about perversion. Another one of those shows I'll never watch, but that actually just reminded me of the funny headcanon spreading on the internet now, and I just... Okay, I'm gonna take 2 seconds to talk about this just because it's in my mind, because it came up on this, and this is the most awkward screenshot to use it on. But Black and Red, I promise this term is not what you think it is, but it does lead me to talk about something similar. Like, I hate shows like Reincarnated Sensei and Rent-A-Girlfriend, but my topic right now is about Rent-A-Girlfriend, to where a recent edition of the manga showed that the main character might be gay, and honestly, I feel it would be the funniest fucking thing for, like, end chapter. It reveals to waste everybody's time, like, yeah, sorry I've been wasting all of your time. I'm actually into dudes. It's like all 4 or 5 of the girls are just like stunned, jaws dropped. The one that actually is in love with him just like, you fucking what? I feel it would be the funniest thing, and the internet would actually probably explode in anger for the like couple of thousand people that do watch it regularly, unironically. But that's just a small thought I had to share on that. Because again, I went from point A to point B of Reincarnated Sensei to point C of another garbage harem slop. He's not helping his case, by the way. The fact this bitch just smiled and nodded does not help. But again, we come back to the awkward conversation of she's like 1,000. And it's not quite that kind of relationship, it is more father-daughter. But still, the way he phrased that is terrible. Oh? Who do they have in the prison that he needs to be grabbing? Okay, don't remember you exactly, but I think I do remember you a little bit. Okay, I'll admit I don't actually fully remember her. Though I do remember a Mob East tamer from a previous season, and that's this bitch. I just don't remember her fully. Apparently she didn't make that much impact to the series for me not to remember her. I remember taking this attitude in sarcasm when people told me yes. He's doing it in a serious fashion, but she already agreed to go with him and he's continuing on. But I remember having that attitude. Like, it's the attitude I took that started the relationship with the very last girlfriend I had. Oh, so long ago. But I hope one of these days, maybe chance encounter and I meet the one that got away again. But as far as this goes, yeah, she already told him yes, so he's just kind of making an ass of himself. I swear to God, she better not be alluding to what I think she is. Because he was just trying to dap her up. And she's like, don't be friendly with me. She better not be alluding to what I think she is. Also, I'm going to take a moment to talk about this kind of reaction he's giving to Julie's trying to get sentimental about forgetting and being forgotten. Can we just bring up how Subaru is actually probably one of the most respectful characters in any isekai? Because, like, yes, he's a bitch, and he died so many times throughout the series, and in the beginning he cried and whined about it a lot. But this is one of those cases where you just have to get through the first, like, X amount of a season or series to be able to truly understand things. Because, like, yeah, you watch the first, I don't know, majority of season 1, and I know that's a lot to need to invest into to decide if a show is good or not. But, like, by episode 8, he mans up. You know, he starts doing the thing as he learns about his powers, and while he doesn't quite know yet, he can't tell anybody, he eventually knows how to abuse the fact he goes back in time and can fix things. So, like, I don't know, I feel if we're just at least talking about isekais, he is the most respectable character. Because, like, I respect Kirito a lot from Sword Art. You know, people don't like Sword Art because it dips into some very weird territories. A lot of these do, and that's probably why a lot of them are just harem slop. But, like, Kirito was one of the most respectable characters in isekai anime ever, period. Because as much of a douchebag as he could be at times, as much as there was a low point in some people's opinions when they took a slice of life part of season 1 and added that in for no reason when actually it had very good plot point reasonings. Like, the man is was the most respectable, and probably still is one of the most respectable members of an isekai anime. I mean, how many times did he stop people from committing the R word? At least twice? Maybe even 3 times? 4 times even? I don't know, I didn't watch the Underworld season yet. Still need to do that one of these days. But my point being, there's a difference between, like, what you view the anime as a whole and what you can think about a character. Subaru might have been a bitch in the beginning, but he's one of the most respectful anime characters, specifically in isekai at least, of the modern day. You know, he technically has a harem, sure, but it's not like he pays attention to much of it. Granted, that's kind of like most anime, protagonists, but he acknowledges it sometimes. He just only cares about one. Because he is well aware of how Rem feels about him despite being, unconscious the past, like, season and a half. But he's still all for Amelia. You know, he respects his, friends and, sub family, I guess, in a couple cases. Because as I mentioned earlier, Biko's kind of like, I don't know, a daughter figure, even though she's like 12 times his age. But man, this dude went through hell and back, learned how to use his abilities, learned the limitations to his abilities, is still testing his new abilities from, absorbing the... Why do I keep forgetting what Beetlejuice's sin is? Probably because that was all the way back in season 2. But, yeah. Like, he's learned and adapted, and now he cries less than normal. Now, I've seen, again, previews this season, and he goes back to his crying ways a little bit, but in exchange for other things. So, like, if we're talking specifically isekais, he's definitely in the top, probably 3 most respectable of all time, in my opinion. Because, like, people can enjoy the shows they want, sure. Like, somehow Reincarnated Sensei is up to, like, season 4 or whatever. That I question as much as I wish Dress Up Darling got up to season 3 or 4. As Rent a Girlfriend getting a season 6. Which, again, what I said earlier, would be hilarious to happen. But there's... yeah, like... Subaru, Kirito, and... honestly, I couldn't tell you a third that's in that most respectable isekai character area. Maybe the dude from Skeleton Knight, which I'll also hop on trying to get on season 2 of that soon, but I figured this was coming back, so it was probably smarter to binge some of this. Yeah, if you guys have a better third as far as, like, respectable for the way their characters have grown and developed, let me know. Because I feel like that Skeleton Knight had a good heart from the beginning, but I also can't remember a third off top of my head, so feel free to give your opinions to that. Or if you have a better, 2 out of 3 than Subaru and Kirito, because, listen, people might not like sword art for a bunch of reasons, but you can't deny that you would do what Kirito did at the end of seasons 1 and 2, or the midway point of season 3. Yeah, I was gonna ask, wonder if he'll have to contend with Ram as far as taking Ram out on a little trip. Oh. Apparently Ram's going with them. Which is good, because having, a conscious demon to help them, not a bad idea. She has no idea. Like, as we just went over, obviously she has no idea, but the way that she said you're going to die this time, it's like, yeah, that does not surprise me. It's the matter of how many times am I going to die. Meanwhile, they're talking with her, and is he going to come out and admit that she's his mother, or is he still gonna dick around about it? Or... because I feel like that's probably why he came, is to, like, admit that. But then again, I also have another thought process. Maybe she's not quite who she says she is either. Maybe she's been dicking with the husband the whole time, and she's been dead this entire time. Because I don't remember the full backstory we got on her before, other than she woke up with no memories and, came here in XYZ. So, maybe it's not actually her. Maybe it's another sin that's been undercover the whole time. Because we still have at least one sin that's, like, not even been uncovered, as I remember, right? Because, like, 2 or 3 of them are dead, and, like, 3 of them are on the run. But I feel like there's one sin that has not been brought up at all. Am I crazy? Beetlejuice was Sloth. That's what he was. I think. Shit. Anyway, we've seen Sloth, we've seen Gluttony, we've seen Lust, we've seen Pride. Beetlejuice was Pride, wasn't he? I think so. Envy. Yeah, I feel like there's one that hasn't been revealed at all yet. Well, that's, you are, Like, he really needs to not dick around with it, honestly. He should just come up and, come out and say, so, remember that period before 10 years ago? The time you lost your memory? Yeah, hi, I'm one of your other kids. You have another very lovely daughter that's working as a maid somewhere. Maybe one day you'll get to meet her, and please don't kick me out of your house because I'm being honest. Because he kind of is. He just came right out and said mom. Like, whether she's going to take that as repressed memories or question it further, suppose we'll see. And he just keeps going off with it. Yeah, nah, she's gonna start to question why he's going off like that, because saying it once on accident is one thing. A lot of people, at least in my age, probably know the feeling of, like, accidentally calling a teacher or something mom, because weirdly, that's a thing that must happen in child's brains. So, like, you take positions of power, and when certain people treat you a certain way, you want to relegate it as something else. Oh, right, his name's a pun. I forgot he was Garfield. Well, without the D. Though she's playing more of a passive role and not even questioning it, she's just accepting it. And honestly, that's about all that she can do for him right now until he actually mans up and says what he has in mind. Meanwhile, his new step-siblings come out and see him crying in her arms, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? Meanwhile, the girlfriend's like, come now, children, we need to leave them to have a moment alone. What do you mean, children? You're our size. Yes, but I'm also 1,000 times older than you. Move, move. Okay, so his stepsister is like his real sister because she was just talking shit about him. She says in his mother's stead, yeah, he still didn't admit shit. Another time, perhaps. Okay, no. The fact that the daughter actually has a name similar to his own is crazy. Okay, so if the girl's Raphael, is he Fred? Fucking called it! No, there is no shot she actually named the new children similar names to her other kids. That is insane. Like, no, he definitely can't ignore the obvious by like, even if he didn't know it was his mother before, that just shows so many red/green flags depending on your perspective. Hey, Garfield, at least that means, like, she didn't completely forget about you and your sister. Like, something still struck a chord in her memory to be able to, like, remember your names and pass them on to her current children. So it really does come down to an awkward point of, does he eventually say something? Or does he just, like, accept the fact that they were remembered and take that to heart? Yeah, he's even making his own little comparison to the two. Alright, that's about the last second of the episode, so I'll just leave it paused there. You know, I I was not expecting the episode to turn into that quite so much, because, like, I did remember the part about Garfield and his mother and his new step-siblings and that kind of thing. But that revelation at the end of the episode is actually kind of crazy, because, again, memory is a very funny and fickle thing, as we know from the sake of reality. Because, like, there are so many instances where people lose their memory or forget certain things, and then, something at the back of their brain kicks into them like, hey, this is the thing you're trying to remember. And while it doesn't fully show through, it shows through enough for it to make a little bit of a difference. And this was one of those cases. Because while she might have forgotten her original children for the time being, I don't know if he'll ever man up and say anything. I kind of hope he does, because honestly, that would track to the show. She goes through some kind of life or death situation with or without her kids, and that's when he decides to say something, maybe kick her in the rear, or maybe her memories got absorbed from Gluttony, and as soon as they take care of that issue, they'll come back. So it seems like, while all of the sins do need to be taken care of, Gluttony is definitely the main one they need to handle. Because whether it just be for the current problems we are aware of, or things like that might be potentially part of the problem, that fucker's gotta go. But, yeah, this first episode has been a lot, and Can't wait to continue how it goes. Probably record at least another one or two to like fill out the rest of the weekend at least. Maybe I can record like 3 of these at least, and maybe the one episode Kimishino I'm behind on. We'll see how my recording schedule goes. But let me know your thoughts on how the first episode of the season went. Pertaining to things I talked about, pertaining to things I talked about, pertaining to things from the show itself, pertaining to the things in previous seasons, or whatever you might have in mind, as well as, of course, about other shows, movies, etc. I should check out this season, next season, or in general. Leave in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the other stuff in the description. Ring bells like Facebook, follow Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Patreon. Oh, and Twitch, of course. Subscribe to the Patreon and Twitch for benefits. Patreon, you get the full unedited visual and audio stuff over here. And in Twitch, I still need benefits to figure out for when I stream regularly and get a lot of people over there. But maybe I can figure a way to give y'all links to the stuff on the Patreon if you subscribe to the Twitch. I don't know how I do that, but one of these days I will find out if people do the thing. Till next time, though, it's been the Blazer King with King's Critique. Sound ta for now. Peace.